So if we stop thinking about growth for just a second, because what just happened this week is not about growth. It's about removing a wall that has been blocking millions of people. And once that disappears, once that resistance is not there, the numbers start to change very, very fast for HIMS. See, this shift has not been fully understood yet, and that gap is where everything starts. In this video, you're going to understand why changing from a weekly injection to a daily pill expands the entire market. And we're also going to break down how that brings in new users who were previously locked out. And then we'll work through the math step by step. So by the end of this, you can see exactly how this scales and what is also going to be the deeper rooted behavioral change you'll see on the back end of this announcement.
Welcome to the game, it's the Instant Stocks by Mikhail Kuhar.
But before that, if you don't know who I am, my name is Mikhail and I'm a partner at X10 Day Trade, where over the last 4 years, we have developed a software that allows professional traders to do complete hands-off trading for you. It's like inviting professional traders into your house to do all the trading for you. One of the great things is we're partnered with Interactive Brokers, one of the biggest online brokerages in the world, and you never have to send us any of your money. All the software does is fire it directly through to your portfolio so you can see the profits every single day and every single month. Now, do we win 100% of the time? No, we don't, but we usually average anywhere from 5 to 15% returns every single month for your account. You can see here on the screen all of our trades so far for March, and here's an example of some of the profits we're bringing in for clients. We've been doing this over the last 4.5 years, and on the back end, we have millions of data points of all the trades we've taken, so every single month, every single year, we just get better. You need at least $10,000 US to access the software. Here's an example of an account that if they started with just $10,000 in 12 months, they can be at over $50,000. Now, we do a couple things really, really well, and we're a big believer if you just do one thing consistently, you get really good at it. So we only trade the US stock market and we only trade options in high liquidity stocks. So if you're looking to find out more, there'll be a link down below to book a call, or go to x10daytrade.com and book a call with myself personally. I'll walk you through the entire process and show you every single trade we're making in real time. But without further ado, let's get stuck in today's video. So let's start with the core shift, because this is not just about a product. What's behind this, underneath this, it's about the behavior. For years, the weight loss treatments have worked. That was never the issue. The real issue was how people had to take it. A weekly injection, for some people, that's manageable and they get used to it. They build a routine around it. But for a large group of people, that's where this process ends. See, when you have the perfect plan, it's not that perfect if there is a huge amount of resistance or lack of ability to execute on it. If I wrote a new gym program for you and told you you needed like 12 exercise balls and dumbbells up to 60 kilo to do X, Y, and Z stabilization exercises, if you did not have that at your local gym and you had to go further, or you had to like maybe make 2 stops for let's expand on this for it. Maybe you have to make 2 stops to get your workout in at 2 different facilities to be able to move the weights you need to. That creates a huge piece, and you're never going to do that, right? But I'm just giving you an analogy. That would create a huge piece of friction in you achieving the goal and doing the thing you need to do. The exact same thing happens when someone starts like a diet or something, and they try to stick so strict to every single perfect thing because that's the perfect thing to do. Yet the perfect plan not executed well is just not the perfect plan, because if you haven't taken the action, you're not going to get the result. That is exactly what has happened here with this announcement, because there's a huge piece of the market that they don't hesitate about getting the injection. They don't try it once. They just simply never start. And this is the behavioral pattern that's the same as the gym analogy, where the resistance is just too large. Like they just never start because they could never see themselves using a needle. And this group is not small. It's millions and millions of people. People who are aware, people who are interested, people who would benefit, but they stop at one singular point, the injection. That's the invisible wall. Now that wall is gone. A daily pill replaces the injection. And on the surface, that sounds like a very small change, right? But in reality, it changes the starting point for millions of decisions, because now the action just feels normal. People already take pills every single day. There's a lot less friction. There's close to no friction at all. And it takes away the hesitation, it takes away the mental barrier, and it's just a simple step. I'm not talking about the mental barrier when someone needs to use a needle. What I'm talking about is when they see it on the screen and they don't even click the ad, they don't even click the website, they don't even look at the product because they see it's a needle. Or they might look a little bit and then they just completely bail from the checkout sequence or from the diagnostic sequence. Like, this ability removes the mental barrier to be able to have people purchase this product. And this new product removes the mental barrier just on the front end of the deal, so people actually spend money to purchase the product. And that simplicity alone drives adoption. Now, if we think about what that does to the market, before this change, there was demand, but not all of it converted. I shared on another video that there was a waitlist built off the back end of the Novo deal. And just recently we saw HIMS announce they had thousands and thousands and thousands of people sign up for this waitlist, right? So there's a huge amount of demand there for it. Now, a large portion of potential users stop before they even begun, because now that portion has a path forward. Even if only a part of that group converts, the total number of users increases, and that's where growth really begins. Not from changing the outcome, but from changing access. So if we take this one step further, because access alone is not enough, people need a system. They need a way to start easily. They need a way to stay consistent. And that's where the platform really matters, because this is not just about delivering a product. It's about managing the entire journey from the moment someone signs up to the moment they see results in their life, in their health, in their day-to-day, and also to the months that follow. That journey creates retention, and retention creates value. So if we introduce this key idea, recurring revenue, you guys hear me speak about this all the time. It is something I absolutely love in a foundational sense around a business. If you have predictable, measurable income month after month, you can start to make projections every single month how much you're going to have coming in top line revenue, gross profit, net profit next month, already from the existing user base, dependent on churn as well. And then you can also look at what are you potentially doing in the marketing aspect to make a projection on how many clients you should sign the following month, right? So this compounds, because when you sign a client, it's not a one-time purchase and you need to go and find another customer the next month. It's a monthly relationship, and every user who joins adds to that base, adds to that foundational pillar. And if they stay, that base grows stronger over time. So if we imagine adding new users at scale, people who were previously locked out, now entering the system, that changes the slope of growth. And it's not gradual, it's very, very meaningful. And this is where the numbers really start to matter. So if we start with the current user base and then add new users from the pill, people who were previously not even participating, even a modest increase here creates a meaningful shift. Now, if we multiply that by a monthly payment, not a large number, just a steady recurring amount, and then extend that across 12 months, that's where it starts to compound, because it repeats. Now, if we add growth on top of that, more awareness, more adoption, more ease of use, which is the big pillar in this, that's when we start to see a more aggressive curve upwards. And this is where most people underestimate what's happening. They're really focused on the current numbers. And right now, looking at the market on the 29th of March, I'm looking at most of the market relatively down from their current positions over the last few weeks, right? The whole market is in a bit of a slow decline. So it's not going to do you any benefit if you are looking to hold this medium long term to start looking at what the current price point is right now. Instead, we want to look at the future structure. So if we reintroduce retention, because retention changes everything. If users stay longer, each user becomes more valuable. You don't need to replace them. You automatically increase that lifetime value, and you actually save on acquisition costs on the front end, because you don't need to replace that customer because they're not churning as much as what they were before. Now, that improves just overall efficiency in the company, and over time, this improves margins. And then we start to look at the market perception as a whole, right? Like, friction is a massive thing, and sometimes the market might not even price this in. They look at the product thinking it's just another product. Like, what is the outcome? What does it do? But what is the process for someone making the decision they want that and actually taking the product and then using it long term? So another product they did mention they were going to look at bringing out late 25 and early 2026. So I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out in the next few months, which is Kaisertrex, which is going to be an oral version of testosterone replacement therapy. Now, if you know anything about this space, usually a synthetic testosterone replacement that is taken orally has really, really bad effects on the liver, because for it to have the half-life it needs, half-life is the amount of time it stays in the body, the half-life it needs for the body to absorb it and utilize it, it needs to pass through the liver 2 times. Now, with injectable, it doesn't actually go through the liver. It goes straight into your system, and the liver doesn't have to work anywhere near as hard. What Kaisertrex has done is they've solved that problem. So the efficiency of the absorption of the testosterone is much, much better. So actually, it's a lot easier on the liver. Now, I haven't done deep research into actually the liver and this product and everything, but it has been FDA approved. So that tells you a massive thing. Now, if we have a weight loss and a testosterone replacement pill in the same company, the retention and adaptation of that is going to be massive. What they've done right now is they've built a system, an infrastructure, a delivery source for all these products. So as HIMS starts adding on more and more products, what's going to happen? You're going to get, like what I said before, higher lifetime value per customer and increased efficiency in the system, and also much, much lower costs on the front end to acquire. So even if this increases gradually, that still represents millions of new users that would never even use a needle. Now they can take things orally, and these users need a platform. Now that's where it becomes more interesting, because the platform is not limited to one product. Once the system is built, you can just keep adding these on. And one of the things I love about what HIMS has done is they've layered this in a way. Look at how you can do blood work and labs with them. That's super, super important with products like this. When you start taking these into your system, you need to be monitoring blood work as you go. So if you look at this graph here for a moment, this is the comparison of users projected to 2030. This was a study done by JP Morgan. So it's just comparing the difference of injectable GLP-1s to oral GLP-1s just inside of the US. So you can see here on the far left, there's a 10 million injectable GLP-1 users today in 2026. Now the amount of patients wanting just the pill is 15 million. And if they look at a JP Morgan, a 2030 estimate, they're looking at potentially 25 million at the total potential market. So you can see on the right-hand side here, there's more than double the available market for products like this moving forward. And we can see here, this is just showing what I was saying before. For years, only one side was accessible, and now both sides are. So that's not incremental growth, that's expansion. The other layer to this is when you unlock a new segment of users, you're not competing on the same pool, you're just adding to it, and that's what makes this different. So looking at what has happened to the price lately, and after the Novo deal, after the lawsuit, then the Novo deal, and now the short squeeze pressure, I am not surprised we're going to be looking at a few good headlines. I would not be surprised if we have a few really good partnerships, headlines, product releases in the coming weeks and the coming months, because that is going to be something that can be a massive catalyst for the HIMS stock price more in the short and medium term, because most major shifts don't look dramatic at first. It looks very simple, a small change, just an easier option, a different way of doing the same thing. But these small changes can unlock massive outcomes because they change the user's behavior, and behavior is the catalyst behind everything in life. I would love to know your thoughts and where you sit on this current topic, this new release of the product, and what you think this is going to do for the sentiment behind HIMS. And what do you think is going to be the next thing that starts to come out and make headlines for these guys? Because this is going to be a very interesting few weeks to keep watching. As always, my name is Mikkel, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.